Hi, Joe Peffer, Delicious Real Estate. Today we're going to talk about earnest money. Earnest money is a contentious issue, or at least it can be, at the end of a real estate transaction that goes bad. For the most part, earnest money is a deposit from the buyer that is a show of good faith. It has nothing to do with an actual deposit on the house. It's not a down payment of any kind. It's money that says, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we are serious about buying this house. We really like it, and we're not going to screw you over by walking away from this halfway through the transaction for no particular reason. Certainly, if you're the buyer, you want as little earnest money down as possible. If you're the seller, you want as much earnest money from the buyer as possible. In Central Ohio, typically the earnest money is deposited in the broker's trust account whose agent is helping the buyer. The money sits in that trust account. It does not earn any interest. And at the end of the transaction, providing everything went swimmingly, which it usually does, the buyer gets that earnest money back in a check from the brokerage who's helping them buy the house. Now, when wouldn't you get your earnest money back? Certainly every buyer has provisions within the contract to acceptably exit the contract. If they cannot get their financing, then they get their earnest money back and they get out of the contract. If they have a home inspection that reveals things to them that they did not know about the house, and they decide that they don't want to go any further with the house, they can get their earnest money back and they can get out of the contract. If they just are past the home inspection phase and they want to just get out of the contract because they've just had a bad feeling about buying a house, they decided against it, there's no good reason, they can get their financing, there was no problems with the home inspection, they just decide that, you know what, this isn't for us, we're going to lose the money, we understand, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, here's some compensation to you for taking your house off the market and dealing with us for these last 2.5 weeks, we're sorry, here's our earnest money. So it's important to note that earnest money is not required in the real estate purchase contract. There's nothing in the state of Ohio that says that you have to put down earnest money. In my experience, it's always better to name the amount of earnest money in the contract rather than try to get by without putting anything at all in the contract as you make your offer, because almost every single transaction in Columbus is going to involve some earnest money. So you might as well get it out of the way. And you might as well say how much you're willing to put down as opposed to the seller saying how much you're willing to put down. And that's a little bit about earnest money. It's something that I get asked about a lot, and it's something that every buyer and seller really need to understand. And what do you do with the earnest money? You do whatever the contract says you do with it. You can put down any kind of anything you want to do. If it's in the contract, then that's what you abide by. You can put down your dog instead of earnest money. If it's in the contract, then everybody's okay with that, then that's okay. So that's what happens with earnest money. And if you have any questions, email me or give me a call. Thanks. Bye.